This episode is brought to you by Resy and American Express. Resy is a digital platform that connects restaurants to restaurant lovers by elevating dining experiences, providing original industry content, and helping to fill some of the country's most exciting dining rooms. Because restaurants have always been more than just places to eat. The amazing world of restaurants is just a few taps away in the Resy app and at resy.com.
Oh, Hilton stay, your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton stay, our holiday you're saving.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. This season, enjoy spacious, comfortable rooms and friendly service when you book with Hilton instead. Hilton for the stay.
And it was fascinating because I came across a company that's doing creatine pastries. So they sell like creatine croissants and muffins. I'm like, what?
This is Taste. I'm your host, Matt Rodbard. Snackshot, the curatorial and slightly mercurial grocery newsletter and community, has grown into an industry force, read by CPG executives and members of food media on a near religious level. I'm one of those readers. Snackshot's founder, Andrea Hernandez, returns to the show to go over the big headlines from the year at the grocery store and in the CPG trenches. We talk about shorting protein, Stiller's soda, Starbucks' recent stumbles, and play a fun game of what the fuck is up with. Also in this episode, I have a great conversation with Winston Alfieri. He's the co-founder of Sauce, a startup pasta sauce company that I'm a big fan of. I hope you enjoy this episode. Andrea Hernandez, welcome back to This Is Taste. How are you doing?
I'm good. Surprisingly, not as cold Austin day.
Well, I mean, let's start there. I want to hear a little bit about the year you've had with Snackshot and your consulting work. You know, we've always read your work, and I just enjoy your skills with the pros, with the copy, but also just your deep insight into CPG and products and just the landscape of the grocery store. How's the year been?
Well, it's funny because I think we talked about this on a prior call, but I feel like it was a very, I guess, turning 5.
Yeah.
Like existential, like what is this really leading towards? But it was great. I mean, we were able to do most of the things that I wanted to do, like our usual expo event that we ended up raising over $10,000 to go towards like the LA fire victims. I've been able to work with a lot of cool brands.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I have been a lot more intentional with my writing. And it's been a year of growth, even though I don't feel like the output was as much as previous years. And yeah, it ended up also being the year that I got profiled by the New York Times. So
what a career move and moment for you, and well deserved getting that profile. And I love your output. I think it didn't feel like it was less, even though maybe the numbers lie. But I think it's just very, very strategic, and we don't need a Substack a day kind of flow from anyone really. And I think 5 years you're really part of the industry. I mean, you're a leading light. You're speaking at universities now. I mean,
oh my God. Yeah, I love that. No, but also it's funny because like there's a lot of products out there that have been 100% influenced by me.
Yeah.
So
really?
That's actually pretty wild.
So you're seeing things that have come to market based on some of the work you've done, some of the trend forecasting and just like the deep reporting.
No, yeah, but it's not only also that. It's like people that take my work and then develop products based on the insights that I'm putting out there. And there's been a couple of brands that have literally like verbatim told me like this piece of yours inspired this specific product. And so At this point, I feel like it's like, I don't know, like the end of the Ouroboros, where it's like, oh no, now I'm like part of the Matrix in itself.
Yeah. Can you tell us like a product or even a category that's been inspired by the work of Snackshot?
Oh my God, there's this ready to drink like seltzer, like alcoholic seltzer that looks like a sports drink. And the company literally said like my state of beverage was very
Constructive.
deep dive
Yeah,
situation on like literally the whole state of the beverage industry. And they were like, yep, like that was the one that did it for us, where we needed to put this out there based on all the things that we learned from that piece. And I thought that was hilarious because I was like taunting it. And then like they were like, oh yeah, by the way, like you inspired this. So like if anything.
And then
I
it's
was basically
like
mocking
flattery. You were
myself.
mocking them, and now it's flattery because like you're inspiring it. It's quite the circle.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to go over some specific topics. You know, we chatted a year ago about the year in food and CPG. And so I want to circle back on a couple things and have some new topics. But you wrote this really, really great piece. Should we short protein? And I think it's really smart stuff. You divide this protein era we live in into two camps, the purists and the maximalists. I mean, tell us a little bit about both of these camps and how you view protein right now.
Yeah. So in that piece, I felt it was important to write about it because people kept asking me, like, what's your take on protein? Blah, blah, blah. And it's really silly because, like, I think we forget that a lot of the stuff that we see now comes from there, it comes from somewhere. And to me, it was really important for people to know, like, this is just like a rebranded moment.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's also important to learn like that what has actually changed is like how we view protein, uh the role of protein. Whereas in past decades, like what we're talking like 70s and back, protein was mostly promoted as like a muscle gain and like a mass. You're gaining mass. So it's
Yeah.
like you're a scrawny kid, add protein to your diet. And then like, soldiers are strong, like Uncle Sam wants you to be drinking dairy kind of
Right.
like propaganda. And then of course, as our food becomes less nutrient and, there's this like golden era of all these like candy and junk food corporations, the role of protein starts changing to be something that is being promoted as a way to lose weight and like lose mass. So I think, starting in 2000s, you start to see these diets, the Atkins, South Beach, and then like 2010s, like whole keto craze. And then you have like 2020s, which is like a divide between what led Quest to $1 billion exit, which is doing protein junk food.
Yeah.
And then you have the like carnivore Paul Saladino personas that for some reason always have to be shirtless and eating meat out of like a charcuterie board.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting because there's been the guy who did Quest, like the guy who did Quest, he's doing it again. He's like doing like a millennial version of Quest, which is called Legendary Foods. And it's funny because a lot of people complain about, oh, this bar has this ingredient that's bad for you, or we shouldn't be eating these things that are like not natural. Just eat meat. They say, just eat meat. You don't need a bar that has like 20, 40 grams of protein. And I think that there's a lot to be said that there's such demand for something like a Snickers protein bar, which by the way exists.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it's pretty fucking good too. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Jesus,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Give Americans what they want.
Exactly.
And I do think that the more like the purest phenomena like is not. I mean, I guess it's the loudest.
Yeah.
But obviously, it doesn't trickle down to I will say maybe on the rotisserie chicken thing, because I do know that has become like an obsession, particularly with like Gen Alpha
Yeah,
teenagers.
the teenagers who are doing gains at the Gold's Gym are definitely still TikToking about the full rotisserie at the
Oh
gym.
no, yeah. And like these places are literally selling out. Like
Yeah.
if you go to a Whole Foods in Austin, I can tell you like that rotisserie chicken aisle is like section is just gone by like noon.
The 6'7" fluffy hair kids the boys are buying
Yeah,
it.
the teenagers are
Yeah.
literally going at it.
Yeah.
That's their version of a protein bar.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating because there's also like these other weird subsets of like the purists that go into like the raw milk kid. I don't know if you've seen that, like like it's this guy, his name is Owen. People debate whether he's like really 12 years old because like he doesn't really look like an 18-year-old. But it's so crazy. It's this kid, and then there's so many different like he basically created the template of the raw milk kid, and there's so many people like basically emulating that. It's this whole meme, and so it's like this kid who's like, God and steak and eggs, a woman of God and arms. Like it's really funny.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was really fascinating to kind of go into that and look at all the different, like who's the Gen X, it's Paul Saladino, right? He's like the meat influencer like guy. And then for millennials, it's like the guy who does the lineage foods. I forget what his name, but he's like a doctor who's like very active on social. And then like for Gen Alpha, it's like the raw milk kid
Owen.
persona.
Yeah. Owen. I want to. I mean, should we short protein? I mean, are we going to hit a
I think that
saturation?
it's not going to go anywhere because
Yeah.
it's not gone anywhere.
Exactly.
If anything, I'm waiting to see what the rebrand, like after the Protein Max era, like what's going to be the rebrand of a protein, and if with Ozempic and the GLP-1 craze, is this something that's actually going to help revert the role of protein to being back to, well, this is something that you're going to do to like gain mass. I'm worried about our kidneys in general.
Yeah, the keto diet proven, and also Atkins going back to the 2000s proved that kidney disease and this overcooking of the kidney, so to speak, because of this diet rich in protein is real. And also just like I worry about cholesterol and animal products. And
like when everybody is like shilling this, and someone comes to me and it's like, oh, just eat meat. I'm like, okay, I want to see. Show me the blood work. Someone actually sent me their blood work.
Oh, no way. Now,
yeah.
How do you feel? I mean, listen, how do you feel about that? That's kind of crazy.
I mean, yeah, but I was like, for the sake of argument, I was just like,
yeah.
I want to believe what you're saying, but like, I want to see your blood work. Like, I want to know if like, how is this affecting you? Yeah. And I think that's very important to note. And this is, I think, that why it's divided into these two segments is because it, again, Quest sold for $1 billion. I think Legendary Foods is making like $200 million a year now in their products. Like there's demand for it for sure. Whether or not we need a Starbucks the cold foam protein, like that's just gimmicky. And there's a lot of stuff that's gimmicky, right? Like, come on.
And we'll get
like
to Brian. We'll get to Brian Nickel. We'll talk about Starbucks soon enough.
Like the protein barbecue sauces. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Or like the brand that's called Macho Pasta. Like, okay, is it like gay to want to eat like pasta and sauce now? Like, why are we shoving 80 grams of protein to a pasta sauce and like making it seem like it's like, oh, it's like manly
healthy
pasta.
Or something? I want to go to some other topics.
Okay.
I feel we'll circle back with protein perhaps later on, but I want to tap into this farmer cosplay movement we've been seeing. We chatted a little bit off mic about it, but I want to get your take on what you're seeing in that world.
Yeah, I mean, I've posted about it, and a lot of people when I posted about it in my stories, a lot of people were like, "Thank you for saying it." And I think it's very pervasive because I do think that there's like obviously like farmers across the US are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also like important for just like your average person to understand like the way that the farming system is in the US. It's very consolidated. So like you really depend on like a bigger entity to go and buy up your product. And not as much as like direct to consumer. I think that there are some like at least being in Texas, I can see that there's some good brands that really try to make the D2C format work for them. But in comparison with China, China's opposite. China is not consolidated and it's a bunch of little small farm people that has been interesting to see it modernize. So like these platforms like Pinduoduo, PDD, selling 20 billion worth of produce on their platforms
Wow.
because they've empowered farmers to go DTC. And it's crazy. Like farmers literally will be like live streaming from their like
From the like
the
combine,
crops.
whatever it's called, the crop
Yeah, and they like
harvester. Yeah.
it's and they're like selling, and there's people who have become millionaires
Yeah.
like because of these platforms that have empowered them to go direct to consumer. So I think it's interesting because of the way that Ballerina Farm is trying to like
Mm.
make farmer like the farmer aesthetic, like the very like pioneer vibes. Like if you see her stores and you see like the clothpin quilts, like ass decoration,
Yeah.
like it's funny because like the reality is that they have the ability to do that and quote unquote live off their land because the husband of hers has a lot of money,
It's
or
such an
is the
interesting case, Ballerina Farms. They reached out about maybe doing an interview at some point that I'll do, but I don't know.
I mean, you should.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, again, I have nothing against, her and her like life. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like it's interesting to see it at a time where yeah, like the average farmer's age is like in the 60s.
Yeah, and they can't get people to actually farm.
Yeah, because it's a very, and I had so many people DM me about like I've worked in a farm, like I helped my parents in their farm, and it was like arduous work. Like you don't even have time to be like posting about
no.
like what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting to see like obviously Ballerina Farm. Then there's like I think Dairy Boy leans into that aesthetic a lot, like the farm stand one. And I think they even have like a little stand in collaboration with this, I think it's called Viv stand, VIVS.
Mm-hmm.
And so this also like idea like Flamingo Estate, where it's like Mother Nature is the latest, like the last luxury house. Like it's just I find it to be like very cringe. And again, it's kind of like a cosplay in the same way that like the trad wife cosplay became a
Yeah,
thing.
which was like a big topic last year. I feel like the ring lights aren't really flying off the shelf in Pierre, North Dakota, in like the wheat fields up there.
Yeah.
There just isn't time to be posting on the gram, and the
Yeah.
cosplay is problematic for sure.
Yeah. And I think my problem with that too is that the way that this uh cosplay works relies a lot into tying it with like traditional family values, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, well, a lot of the farmers have like depression and like trigger warning, but like have a lot of them like even end up killing themselves because of the burden that
Mm-hmm.
they have. And so like to me it bothers me that instead of like addressing like, okay, well, what are the actual pillars that have turned and made the agriculture situation in the US be as damaged as it
Dire,
is.
yeah.
Instead, we're trying to like it's like it's God, it reminds me of this like very obscure like 80s Soviet cartoon where it's like they're in the bunker and they have this like screening, like the windows are just like displaying like a virtual outside, but like outside of it is like nuclear waste. And I just feel like that's what this whole cosplay movement with the ballerina farm, like that isn't really helping people engage in a conversation with like, okay, what, like, why is it that, and even price, right? Like people see the farmer's market and they're like, oh my God, it's so expensive. It's not accessible. Okay. Yeah. But there's conversations to be had as to like, why is that happening?
Oh, we talk about that all the time on the show. We talk about the pricing structure at the farmers markets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to pay it.
But also like, that the fact that it has to be viewed as like something bad and like that it's making it inaccessible for people, but we're not addressing like what's the actual root of the problem, where this all comes from. And I think the farmer cosplay is not, it's not at all, it's even like, I guess, like more pervasive because it kind of just like colors like a branch where it's like the tree's dying and all you do is just color the fallen branches green and try to glue it back together.
Yeah, good imagery there. Hi there, it's Matt, co-host of the show. We are currently running a This Is Taste listener survey, and we love to hear from you. Do you have a guest request? A restaurant you wish we'd visit to talk about on 3 things? What about a lesser-known cookbook author who deserves a spot in our studio chair? You can let us know by clicking the link in our show notes to complete the survey. It will only take a couple minutes, I swear, and will help us continue to make the best show possible. That's the This Is Taste listener survey, link in our show notes. This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. If you're one of those last-minute shoppers, you might know the feeling. Ideas are running low and the clock is ticking. Here's a fun idea: Aura Frames. Aura Frames is a solution with a gift that feels personal, a little curated, and sent with love. And a gift that can be purchased in no time with a few clicks of the mouse. Aura Frames are great. They sent me one to check out, and it was really cool and dumb simple to set up. I loaded photos using the app, and it was displaying them instantly. There are no limits to the amount of photos you can load, and you can customize messages with each photo. And here's the deal. You can preload an Aura frame with photos and have it directly sent to that special person in your life, gift wrapped and all. There will be no price tag, and you can include a personalized message. Think about it. All those photos from this past summer's family reunion delivered in a digital frame. That is pretty cool. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code TASTE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code TASTE. The deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, I have a few questions, which I'm framing them as what the fuck is up with. And the first one is, what the fuck is up with Ben Stiller's Soda Company? That shit was popping, man. When that launched, it was like everywhere for like literally like 12 hours, and then I don't know.
I mean, it's when I interviewed the founders, well, not the founder, like when I interviewed Alex, who's basically leading that, he comes from Avec, and which is an NA drink that ultimately got bought up. They're focusing a lot in New York. I think that they're being very strategic about like how they grow the beverage brand itself, and I feel like it's probably going to be a while before maybe. I think that they might be going to main retailers starting next year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the story is like, oh, like he like loved the Shirley Temple, and like it's based off of that, and wanting to offer like a good soda that's not like positioning itself as functional. I think the brand, oh my God, the branding was so controversial. Everybody was like, it looks like this, it looks like that. And I'm like, I remember. Well, yeah, like it's like fucking 80s imagery. Of course it's gonna look like something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think beverage is like very tricky. It's very complicated. And I think if he can command lots of money to help them grow the brand and in the span of time it needs to, then I do think that it has legs to stand on. I think what people forget is that it doesn't matter the branding, it doesn't matter the celebrity. Ultimately, what's the stickiness about this product? So does it taste good? Is it like price
I
accessible? Like,
mean,
does it
it's
have price parity?
such questions. I mean, it's
Y-
such the ultimate vanity project for
yeah,
CPG. I mean, like the ultimate,
yeah.
which
Good luck to him,
good luck to
like
Brent
I
Stiller.
wish him all the best,
All
but
right,
who
who
knows?
knows? Next up, what the fuck is up with colostrum?
Oh my God. That's really funny. I had a dream that I was trying this colostrum supplement that was given to me, and thank God it's still sitting there unopened. I'm so afraid of trying it.
Yeah.
It's because it happened to me with creatine, and we
Yep.
can talk a little bit about creatine too. I think that we're gonna see creatine and colostrum kind of. I mean, we're seeing it now. There's a whole creatine cereal now. But when I went into like why, like there's the alanification of creatine, which is like making creatine for the girlies.
Mhm.
So like Alaninu was like a successful like gendered energy drink that sold to 1 billion to
Wow.
Celsius, right? So like that was like pretty successful. And so I think that it's seeing creatine kind of leave the gym bro persona and try to be more accessible in the same way that protein has. It's been fascinating, and I think that's what colostrum is trying to do. Like, I don't know if you've seen that there's like a matcha colostrum now.
I have, and in fact, I think we may be having an ad read for a colostrum company soon appearing on this very podcast.
Oh my
So they're
God.
very much in the world of food and wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I know that there's a colostrum puff
Yeah.
like chips coming out in 2026. So
Yep.
it's funny. I think to me it just remains a question. And I remember when I interviewed the Man Cereal people, I was like, how is it still like how is creatine, even with the creatine beverage that I also talked to the founders about, like I'm
Mm.
like, how, like what's the viability of the creatine like that goes through a process of like in a
It
beverage?
seems like it'll be
And like
diluted in some way and not really effective as like a
there,
vehicle.
yeah, there's Crea Bev, which is this ingredient that has been made that I think that's the one that at least for beverages they're gonna have to like kind of use
Yeah.
to if they want to be able to say that the creatine actually does anything. And then with Man Cereal, I think they talked about like they test to like they make sure that the baking they don't bake their stuff at such high temperature so that the creatine thing is like the creatine is still viable. And it was fascinating because I came across a company that's doing um creatine pastries. So they sell like creatine croissants and muffins. I'm like, what?
That
But
doesn't feel great. I'm just gonna
I
say.
know, but to be fair, I did look into the science behind that. Like, why is it that you're doing like pastries and like man cereal? Like, if you look at all the studies, apparently milk and carbs are a better conduit of creatine being absorbed into our
Oh,
bodies than water.
then
So
like a sports drink
than like a
vehicle.
water or anything. Yeah. So there's something to it. But yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot more. So get like it's funny to see like the colostrum matcha brand use kind of like the Marlboro ads like as reference for the ones that they've been putting out there. I don't know if you've come across one, but I made a whole meme about that. It was like, and I joke about like, okay, in what ways are you like drinking matcha performatively? Is it more of like a role model matcha cowboy style, or is it more of like quarter zip, uh, finance bro, blank street kind of way?
Blank Street, my
But,
God. All right, next one.
uh,
What the fuck is up with David Protein? We've spoken about on the show in the past. David Barr was one of the splashier launches the past year, and a great piece in the New York Times and your own reporting has uncovered the company using this coveted EPG, this component, this ingredient that they they cornered the market on, and so they bought the main producer of EPG, and perhaps there's some legal issues happening there. We don't need to really necessarily get into that. We can. It's more about just this launch being one of the bigger launches of the past 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, they also raised a ton of money. So, I think one, like obviously they have at least, I guess, vertically integrated with buying that EPG um, manufacturer. And so the playbook is going to be develop more products using EPG, right? So they're coming out with an ice cream, in case you didn't know. So
Really.
yeah, that's going to be out next year.
What are the macros looking like on that ice cream? Can you speculate?
If I mean, knowing that Nick's ice cream was, I don't know if you're familiar with Nick's, that brand.
Oh yeah,
it's
of
like
course.
a European
Huge.
brand.
It's
Yeah.
like Danish or something. It's like Northern European.
Yeah. And I mean, they were using for a while. They were using that same manufacturer to do their ice cream. So I guess something similar. Nick's doesn't use that EPG anymore. But I'm assuming that if you were able to get to try or able to see what their macros look like, I think it would probably be like something similar. I haven't tried it, but the people who have tried it tell me like the texture is actually pretty crazy, how similar it is to like a regular ice cream. So like Halo Top being like kind of like
Wow,
like chalky,
what
and it's
a
like
what a
the
blast
opposite
from the
of that.
past. I still see it in the grocery store, and I
I
like shed
know.
a little tear. I mean, I remember we reported on it in like 2018. That summer,
I mean,
one summer of
it
Halo
got bought
Top.
out,
Sure
so at
did.
least
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that it was like like a sad story. I mean,
Oh
I think that
no.
it was I think that was what triggered the whole millennial better for you chasm success story that everybody was chasing. When it's like, oh my god, better for you this, better for you ice
Yeah.
cream. But now it's like I joke that protein pints. I mean, I wrote about this. I wrote about like protein pints being the next Halo Top,
Yeah.
and I do believe like we're seeing that that it's now about not it's not about like less calories per pint now. It's like how much more protein per pint. And there's
Yes.
David's not going to be the first one doing this. I think that they say that their macros obviously are going to be better than the ones that are out there. But there's so many brands. There's Natty's that does like 44 grams of protein per pint. There's protein pints that you can actually find in Target now. So it's becoming a lot more mainstream. So I guess I was right. And now we have David coming out with
Yeah.
an ice cream soon.
Yeah, I
So
love it. All right, well, that was our what the fuck is up with. I do want to segue and really kind of circle back on a big topic we spoke about a year ago. It's the simple question: is Starbucks fucked? They had just announced a new CEO 12 months ago, Brian Nickel. I know you cover Starbucks in your own very special way. You mentioned the protein foam offerings, but I know that there's been some shifts at the company. What's your take on Starbucks right now?
I think that they are trying to do a lot to like there's a lot of new shiny syndrome happening where it's like you're throwing the protein cold foam and all of these things, and then like stocks been performing just as bad all throughout this year. I think their China experiment of them doing all these stores, like obviously a flop. I don't know who's gonna buy it, but I know that I think they've already put it up for sale. So like someone's gonna go and buy in like all the Starbucks stores that were opened in China. So I still think 2026 was a flop year for Starbucks, regardless of what the meat like putting all these like new products into the media, and like they're trying to like really try to skew into like Maha-ish territory, and I find that absolutely like cringe, because like what does 15 grams do to a drink that has like almost 100 grams of sugar?
Yeah.
Like how is that like
It's just
touted
so
as-
cynical to do a protein foam. It's just cynical. But
yeah, and
yeah.
I will say, like, of course, that Gen Alpha is probably like the ones that are keeping it afloat with their refreshers. And millennials too. I feel like, oh my god, like the bear cup situation.
Yeah.
It's millennials have like a weird. We've made hoarding aesthetic. Like it's so disgusting to me. Like the people who fight over the Stanley Cups and like this whole
Yeah.
bear cup situation that like drew fights across the US. Like it's
Yeah.
so insane to me. Like wow, like late stage capitalism vibes. But I think Blank Street is kind of competing in that like Gen Alpha trendy drink
Yeah.
matcha space where it's like about making things look like the Erewhon smoothie,
Well,
which also
exactly.
isn't like
It's an
healthy.
Erewhon is kind of leading the impetus for these larger chains. I think that they want these coveted smoothie drops
Yeah,
moments at
smoothie
Starbucks.
drops,
Yeah.
like the drinks have to be aesthetic, like everything. Like it used to be, right? It used to be that the Starbucks cup itself was a way of signaling. But I
Oh yeah.
think that obviously that has like what do people care about when it comes to Starbucks? And I think that the refresher drinks, like that's something that I see in social, like that pink drink, like they're really trying to figure out like what now that like these new generations like really don't care about what first we're not really drinking hot coffee anymore because you can't really signal and you can't really see like all the colors swirling.
Yeah.
But when you get like an ice drink, it's like, ooh, like this is like prime for like TikTok clickbait or whatever. So like I think that is the way that the Gen Alpha approaches something like a Starbucks. And so Blank Street has been able to also kind of lean into that to keep itself like being successful and competing with something like a Starbucks. But I think Starbucks is in trouble because like there's like Dutch Brothers, like
Yeah.
there's other chains
I
that are
was gonna
just like
say dirty sodas comes right to mind because Dutch Brothers is eating Starbucks lunch in certain markets, and it's like, when will Starbucks actually have a soda fountain?
yeah, the Dutch Brothers line, like whenever I pass by it here in Austin, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like I've never like I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like they really have come in and really been like I think like it's more of a threat. I think they have to figure something out because like they'll lose in trying to think that I think that they were trying to like do something with the prices. Like they're gonna lose that war because Dunkin' and McDonald's kind of beat them to that. So they're going to have
Mm.
to figure out how to be able to remain premium. But when you don't have a premium experience to offer, you don't really have anything that feels premium except for like doing these gimmicky bear cup drops that are just like for the millennial moms out there. Like I think it's going to be challenging to figure out how to keep Gen Alpha
Yeah.
going as chains like Blank Street try to come
It's
for
a tall task,
that
and I
yeah.
imagine Starbucks has their trend forecast teams combing the planet, the cafe impulses in Seoul, in Copenhagen, in Australia. I'm sure that they've been looking at these trends and looking at what are Gen Z and millennials doing in these cafe spaces. I think about boba as well. Like how does Starbucks and
They did
boba
try to
interact?
do
They
that, but I
tried.
think that was also like it fell flat.
Fell flat.
Because it's not authentic, and I think that people there was this whole controversy when that came out, and I think that people again
Yeah.
you have to navigate. I think it was funny like they used to not operate in like wanting to do functional stuff.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing the, at least in the UK, like 3 years ago, they were already doing a protein RTD. I think it was like 20 grams of protein and they had an RTD. And I was like
Yeah.
curious why in
They
the
didn't do
US
it.
they hadn't done that. And
Yeah.
like this year has been like all about protein. And then 2026, they're actually going to be launching a protein RTD, a
Me-
Starbucks protein
Yeah.
RTD.
Yeah.
So who knows what is going to be the actual thing that ends up saving Starbucks at this point because like they're already like cutting their growth. Like China was a big opportunity for them and that
Yeah.
flopped.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to literally figure out how to beat Erewhon at their own game.
Yeah, and just also from the tier below them, the newer local shops, where people are shelling out $5-6 for a pour over in some urban markets. And
Yeah. Well, I hope my thesis was always like nobody goes to Starbucks for the actual coffee because it tastes
Exactly.
horrible.
Always been my note. I mean, Reserve is a different situation, and I think Reserve has did some great coffees there. The ones I've tried in New York and Chicago, but that's not the norm for the other 10,000 locations or whatever. Yeah. Well,
Good luck to them.
good luck to them. It just shows that when we're kind of kidding about Brian Niccol. I mean, it's a really, really difficult job to try to like inspire a change in consumer behavior around this legacy brand and show growth. I mean, obviously, you're getting baseline sales. I mean, people go to Starbucks as their daily coffee routine going into their office or driving home from school or work. But just to do growth is so hard.
Yeah, and like Brian Nichols, like it was a big thing because he's coming from like QSR, which is like quick service.
Yeah, Chipotle.
Giants like Chipotle, and he did. I think he worked in like Taco Bell as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like a veteran of this.
Yeah.
But I do think that drinks and coffee, and I think it's more about like how habits have changed around the product itself. So like it's not food, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very different, and I guess for him it has definitely been a challenge. And I'm very again, like I respect, like Starbucks needed someone that operated in that space. I think the previous CEO came from like the CPG side.
Yes.
So it's gonna take, I guess, some time, but I'm wondering what is gonna be the major overhaul that ends up happening, because you also can't like undo convenience. Like they structured this to be like the takeout, like prioritizing that. So like now you have to kind of like figure out, okay, you can't not do that anymore. You still have to have that, but then what else can you add on to?
Yeah, I mean, the
that
answer is
experience?
possibly food. I mean, that might be the answer. Like Starbucks is a cafe and not a coffee experience.
Oh my God, imagine Starbucks starts doing like breakfast slop bowls.
I mean, it's definitely going to happen. But that, to your point earlier, it takes away the convenience if you have to like wait 6 minutes to get that sous vide egg cooked, heated up.
I know, even just like I've gone to try to get like those like little pastries that they have, and even just that takes so much time. I'm like, wait, this was a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We'll keep checking in about Starbucks because I think it's just kind of a great story, and it merges like trends in beverage and retail and QSR. Few more questions. I asked you this last year, and I want to know if you've thought maybe deeper about it. Andrea, you're named the CEO of a major grocery chain. What would the first 90 days look like for you?
It's funny because I actually this year, like recently, I saw something pop up in my email where it's like a grocer actually asking like if I would take an advisor role.
Really? What
Yeah,
was like?
so
What would you? I mean, what did you say?
I mean, I think I have to think it through because it's not like traditional. They don't have like an actual. It's like a online.
Yeah,
form.
sure.
But yeah, it's a very interesting, and I've worked with a couple retailers this year, and just observing like I think that there's the traditional grocer versus like what also has become successful amongst millennials and even Gen Z is like the dupe culture ones, which is the Costco's and the Aldi's,
Yeah.
and the Trader Joe's.
So you mean the like bargain private label retailers?
Yes.
Got it.
So I think there's a couple things, like it depends on what, like if I was a traditional grocer, I would for sure figure out how to rework I mean, I can give you an example. I feel like Central Market is such a great example of doing private label really well. They have like this fishwife dupe that I'm just like, wow, like it's they've really learned like, okay, aesthetics matter for this generation. And like that it doesn't feel it's like like our dopamine hits from like finding a good dupe. And so I
Yeah.
think I would take something out of that playbook. I know Walmart's been trying to do it with that like Gen Z private label better goods that
Mm-hmm.
they've launched. But ultimately, I think like the crisis, like there's an existential crisis happening in big legacy brands that the grocers can kind of use to their own advantage by um, continuing to grow the premium side of it, because that, I mean, people will pay for brands. So like an example is Grasa, right? Like Grasa, people will pay the $17 for that Grasa olive oil, and everybody thinks that it's just about the format, and you see all these legacy brands literally just going in, switching into a squeeze bottle, but then they're not really selling as much as Grasa. And the whole idea is that Grasa is viewed as like a premium. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
ace up bottle of olive oil. The what's struggling is brands like Kraft, Heinz, because they're kind of stuck in the middle. It's not like premium, but it's also like not private label. So I would definitely go to the juggler and like plan out like, okay, so you know, Kraft Heinz is splitting itself the same way as Kellogg's. Like how to like what in what ways like can we double down now and maybe like make like a Goodles dupe and not necessarily a Kraft dupe, because a lot of the private labels were just dupes of the legacy ones. And so like that's why I say like Central Market's really smart, because they've realized like, oh, people kind of want dupes of these like shoppy shop style
Yeah.
brands.
Yeah. Yeah, they want dupes
That
of
would
like
be
the
some.
probiotics sodas and the
Yeah, yeah, and
things
like
that
Whole Foods I mean, Whole Foods just came out with their like probiotic
yeah.
like sodas, and I think that again they're getting smarter at that. And then obviously like I think the importance of being able to grow your um the delivery side of it. I
Yep.
think that obviously that's again you cannot unlearn convenience. But I mean I love the innovation sets like Sprouts has. It's just I don't think that it's merchandised very well. I would kind of take that and do it better. I feel like
What are in the
the
innovation sets at Sprouts? I don't have a Sprouts near me.
Sprouts
What's
has an innovation set, and so like if
yeah.
you've ever been to a Sprouts, they'll have this particular area where they have like all these really new brands.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a brand called Casa Vida that's like this Bolivian like cheese puff kind of snack, like pao de queijo, but like crunchy.
Cool.
And they're in that. And so like I think it's about seeing how you perform, and that eventually if that you perform well in that innovation set, that you can grow out of it into like the main
Yeah.
grocer set. I think to me, I would figure out a way, and I don't know how this would happen, because again, I think there's like a lot of insidious things that happen in grocery stores and how they're structured. But like, I'd figure out a way to not give that much importance to the distribution
Mm.
of it. Like, I don't know how this could work, but make it easier or find ways to like be able to bargain on behalf of the actual brands. I think that's something that's always disheartening for a lot of the emerging brands, is how much they're like basically getting out
Discounting.
of their own makings, because they
Yeah.
have to be
Discounting all the time.
yeah, discounting, and then like tied to these like massive like the Keikis or the Yunfis,
Mm-hmm.
and I do feel like that's like a very predatory style
Yeah.
operation. So I mean, my grocery store probably would make no money, but I would try to figure out like how do you upend that dynamic, because I think that that's the only way that you can actually be able to give these emerging brands a real chance. And maybe I would also reduce the beverage fridges, the sizes, and I would triple down on frozen, because I
Yeah,
do think
Frozen
that
is.
frozen.
I fully agree that Frozen is this massive, massive unlock for some of these like dusty chains, and like just so many people rely on Frozen, and just they don't know what they don't know with the innovation coming out, especially foods of many different cultures. It's not just the hungry man dynamic. I mean, I see so many great in like the the Whole Foods style stores, I see great innovation with frozen, be it vegetables or sauced meats or sauced vegetables and legumes.
Yeah, it also it gives people this idea of freshness, right? Where
Yes.
it's like, so like I know that post pandemic people did upgrade their freezing
Yeah.
capacity, like the storage for freezing stuff. Even like I live in an apartment and like I run out of I'm constantly running out of like my like freezer space because
Yeah.
I am that person that's switched to buying frozen vegetables
Yep.
because it reduces food waste in my opinion.
It really,
I think
really
that's also like
does. Yeah.
a massive shift in perception of like, yeah, you still want to indulge in like freshness, but that if you're the kind of person who's like not always cooking in the moment, whatever, it just helps you reduce your own food waste in a way. I think
Yeah.
it's just easier to like use and then save, etc. So like there's a lot of, I think that again, behavior wise, why frozen has, and I wrote this like probably 2021 where I was like, there's going to be a big boom in frozen, and this is why. Like these are like the changes in behavior that we have, and I think those changes of behavior are what ultimately then get you see now in numbers. Where I think frozen is the only category that's still growing double
Oh my
digits
gosh.
in the grocery
And we
aisle.
haven't
So
even talked about frozen ice cream and ice cream, ice cream
yeah, not
adjacent.
even that's
We
not
haven't
like
even
not
talked about
like
that.
desserts. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's just and there's so many opportunities of like beyond what was usually frozen, right? Like you like we were saying, like I feel like even like just like this new wave of dumplings and like Latin American too, like Latin American uh different like I forgot the name of this company, but it's like a huge successful Brazilian company that's only in frozen, and
Oh yeah, I know what you're
I
talking
forget
about.
the
I
name of
forget the
it,
name
but they
too.
started with like pao de queijos and stuff like. So I think like
Yeah.
yeah, like we're seeing like this like renaissance of like the frozen area, that like the frozen category that extends so much beyond just like what used to be just
Just
what we assumed was like the TV diner, like TV dinner kind of
Well,
thing.
now even
So
with like Deep and Kajana, like in the South Asian side of the coin, just incredible options there, which I think
yeah,
is
I mean, I'm happy for it because,
yeah,
but then like it's true. Like even if you go to Trader Joe's, like
yeah.
there's so many like just the frozen. I love how they have you ever been like to the Trader Joe's where they have like, I mean, I guess they have them in all. It's like this frozen. It looks like it's like
Hmm.
they don't have the big frozen ones with the door. They just have like the ones that
The
are like
chests.
yeah, like they're just open.
Yeah, the chests.
Yeah, the
Right?
chest.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
chests
but
are
they're like an
great.
open chest. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that style of. I mean, that feels like
And it's always packed. And I'm like, wait, like there's
yeah.
so many people buying these like frozen meals.
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Trader Joe's just kills it with that stuff. Have you explored in your work dynamic pricing at the grocery store?
Yeah, I saw the Instacart news, but it's now being like, oh, because they did this study on like Instacart. But
Yeah,
dynamic price, like Amazon does that all the time too.
of course they do, and
So to me it's
yeah,
like, yeah, but that's been around. Like that's
yeah.
not nothing new, and
What
it's
about the physical store though? What about actually going to
oh
a
my God, that
store?
yeah, I
Like you
mean
got
they're
like the blue
trying to
light special.
I saw, yeah, that. I mean, I mean, again, late stage capitalism.
Yeah.
I think it's really smart on a business end, but this is the thing to me. I think groceries is a very
Mhm.
delicate space because it is something that it's like an inherent, it's mundane.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're thinking about like why are we doing this? Like, this isn't like did they try to do that in restaurants with drinks? Like, there's some
Well,
bars.
I've talked to operators about it on the restaurant side, which I think is super unexplored. Is like the idea of dynamic pricing at down times. It's all based on timing, where when tables are
I
not
mean,
full,
wasn't that like I guess the original happy hour was that?
oh, it's what happy hour was always intended to be, but you could do a second happy hour. It's almost like a Groupon model where you book through Resi or a reservation engine. You get the 30% off Groupon if it's at this like off hour. Yeah, but
I think is it Walmart that physically has been exploring that.
I
I
mean,
don't know
I
if
just
it's
love this idea of like Honestly, I
'cause
love
Walmart.
barkers. I mean, this is like so antiquated, but what if there were just barkers in stores, like selling products at these like flash discounts? I mean,
Well,
how
that's
insane would
I
that
think,
be?
yeah, Walmart is the one who started using the digital price tags, I think.
Yeah, they have.
Was
Yeah,
it last year?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think that is that. I mean, it's again at one point where you're gargantuan like Walmart, you have to be finding ways
Yeah.
to extract more value
Yeah.
from your consumer because you have shareholders
Mhm.
to answer to. And this is again when I wrote about the new grocer, I've written like my late stage grocer essay. I wrote about the hype beast grocer model
Mhm.
and why that's really fascinating and how it's kind of disrupting the grocery the kind of outdated grocery model in itself and how to make money. I think this is why I try to tell people like when you go to a grocery store like chain, the person in mind is not whenever all these things are the products you're bringing into or like the brands that they work with or the models of whether they have dynamic pricing or not. It all comes down to like what ultimately is going to make shareholders happy, and it's not about actually meeting consumers needs. So it used to be right that grocery stores you would go and kind of fulfill your list and be like, okay, I bought what I needed
Mhm.
and now I just go. Now it's about like getting you to indulge in things that it's like, oh my God, do you like who the hell is drinking Skittles water? And it's become this like playground and it's like, I don't know, like not even playground, it's like a casino where it's like
Yeah.
all these little like coin machines and slots like luring you in and it's like you didn't really have to go drop, $100+ on
I
this.
mean, it's a treats lifestyle that we live in, and we need different treats in different formats. And
Yeah, of course, our generation has definitely changed the way that we relate to these kinds of products. But again, like when you're seeing something like a Walmart, like you have to understand that Walmart ultimately does not do anything now with the consumer in mind,
yeah,
because whatever they do is like they have the infrastructure to just like ultimately like make it work at some point because like they have like over 4,000 like
hmm
grocery stores.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
yeah,
at that point, it's like it's not about you, the consumer. It's about what the
yeah,
shareholders what will make them happy. And Walmart, and unfortunately, Walmart has been killing it in the grocery game. And Target's had to rehaul a lot of even I think that they're like executives and like I think the CEO swap that happened. Like it's because they haven't been able to nail the grocery aspect the way that Walmart has and the way that Amazon has.
yeah,
And Amazon also like tried their best to try and go compete retail wise with Walmart, but I think that they're just sticking now to like, exploring with Whole Foods and cuz I go to like order stuff on Whole Foods and I see how the prices of these things change.
hmm
And they'll even give you like those specific days or specific times it'll be like discounted through Prime
It's
to
smart
like
stuff. It's
incentivize
smart stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's super smart and data you got to figure like ultimately that just it's like data that's being informed and I'm sorry that we're eventually going to be ruled by algorithms. So
yeah.
we might
Well,
as
we
well
are.
start
I
getting
mean,
used to it.
it's like, well, I think we are. I mean, it makes our lives less complicated in some ways. It makes our lives more efficient. And if there can do dynamic pricing to benefit the end user, I'm all for it.
I don't think that it's going to be used that way. I think it's just going to be used to extract more
Yeah,
value. But
yeah. You're right.
again, it's late stage capitalism. Like it's there's nothing really that you can do unless you address how is it that Walmart got so big, or how is it that I know. Thank God the Albertson Kroger deal was not
Blocked. Yeah,
allowed.
yeah. That would have been an
I was
interest.
like, wow, finally there's one win that we get.
That was Biden. That wasn't Trump, right? That was last administration that blocked that one.
It might have
I think
been
it was.
Biden, yeah,
Yeah, it
but
was
at
last.
least I was like, wow, at
Yeah,
least that there's that.
like
It's
that.
like we don't need more consolidation in this space.
No, definitely not.
But
Andrea,
sadly, the Mars and the Kellogg's one did, by the way. So now Mars basically owns Kellogg.
yeah. Andrea, this has been so much fun. Am I going to see you at Expo West?
Yes.
All right. Maybe we'll walk the floor together. That'd be really fun.
Okay.
Thanks for joining This Is Taste. From February 20th to March 7th, Dive into Canada's biggest culinary festival, Montreal en Lumière, an exclusive partnership with the McCord Stewart Museum and its exhibition, On the Menu Montreal, a restaurant story. The 2026 festival invites food lovers on a flavorful journey through time. Montreal's top restaurateurs will reimagine 65 years of the city's iconic gastronomy, crafting inventive, nostalgia-inspired dishes with a modern twist. Prepare your palate. World-renowned chefs, including several Michelin-starred talents, will team up with over 80 of Montreal's finest local chefs to create unforgettable, one-of-a-kind menus. The full program is available at montrealenlumiere.com. Presented by Lotto Quebec in collaboration with National Bank. Today's episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. As a food writer, I can be a little skeptical about subscription cooking boxes you hear about on podcasts. There's big talk about cooking simplicity, but you're usually left with disappointment after smashing that promo code. Now, Clayton, have you ever tried one of those subscription boxes?
Yeah, Matt, my friend gave me a code for that one that has all the chopped vegetables in little baggies. I felt like a drug dealer trying to cook dinner.
Yeah, man, I have so been there. ButcherBox is a true exception. I was sent a box of premium beef and pork and was blown away by the quality and variety. There was 100% grass-fed pasture-raised ribeye, tri-tip, and ground sirloin for my favorite at-home smash burger recipe. George Moats, you better watch your back. For pork, they sent me a beautiful center-cut pork loin for slow roasting. I was super impressed, and I haven't even talked about the ribs, which I cooked in my Instant Pot. There was a rub of salt, white pepper, and togarashi, and I pressure cooked with water and apple cider vinegar. It was incredible. These ButcherBox ribs are amazing. For nearly a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free. As an exclusive offer, our listeners can get free protein in every box for a year, plus $20 off your first box when you go to butcherbox.com/taste. Visit butcherbox.com/taste to get this limited time offer and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/taste. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Winston Alfieri, welcome to This Is Taste. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. Good to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. I really wanted to talk to you. First off, Sauce is a terrific product. You know, you make these pasta sauces that I think are really in line with the modern flavors. And you can push back if I call it pasta sauces. I'm sure there's much more to say.
It's totally fine.
But I wanted to have you in too because you're at a stage in your company's trajectory that is you're not the biggest sauce, but you're not really baby startup. You know, we had Kiki from Sour Milk on recently, and you know their journey is much earlier. You're in the middle, so I wanted to kind of contrast those two conversations. And
of course,
what better way? Before we get to your company and really a lot of questions about CPG these days and like the way you're thinking about this, you know, inflation, all these crazy things. You know, the grocery store is a complex web of topics. You're based in LA.
Yes.
You're a young man. You're maybe we're maybe going to different places, but I want to know where you're going out.
Yeah. Restaurant wise, I think my favorite place is this place called Little Dom's.
Yeah.
It's a great Italian hole in the wall, kind of New York scene, honestly.
Yeah.
But my dad's very Italian, so we always try and go to the most of the Italian places in LA.
Yeah. Little Dom's is cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What was food like growing up for you? Were you? Was the sauce was the sauce on the table?
It's funny because before I started Saws, I had never had a jarred pasta sauce in my whole life. My mom was a big cook growing up, so she was always chefing up something.
Yeah.
She made pastas, you know, all the time, but we never had jarred sauce, which was so weird to me that I started a jarred sauce company. But you don't realize like how much of America actually uses it, and I think
Yeah.
also you can make a really good high quality product in a jar.
Well, I have a different narrative for myself. I grew up with Paul Newman's on my table. That was like the one jar that my mom or dad cooked with.
Yeah.
90s, it was like busy families, and it was great. But I think that we were stuck in this kind of red sauce paradigm on the shelves. And Saws is definitely not doing that. So tell us a little bit about the company. What you stand for. What types of sauces are you selling right now?
Yeah. So I have a co-founder, Troy, and I. We started the business about 2 years ago now. Our biggest thing is we would walk down an aisle of grocery, right? You walk into a Whole Foods or the infamous Erewhon in LA, and everything is so bright and colorful and elicits this emotional response to the consumer that you just want to pick it up and look at the product, right? When we were shopping for pasta sauce, we felt like that category of grocery was very archaic. Mm-hmm. Tan labels, New York restaurant to retail brands on shelf that when the consumer was looking to buy, it was like, why would I buy this marinara over that marinara? I think on one point it came down to price, and then the other was, brand loyalty, consumers' habitual routines. And for us, we felt like, why don't we bring some innovation into this set in terms of Gen Z marketing as well as branding and then product. Yeah. So we really lead with bold flavors, unique flavors, but also taking flavors from cross categories. Not too foreign to pasta sauce, and not too foreign at all, I think, from an ingredient perspective. Like, people can see summer lemon marinara and they know that it's just lemon and marinara, right? Like, it's something different, but not something you would typically see in the tomato sauce aisle.
No, having citrus presented on the label is
exactly.
First off, it's challenging to execute, and the reason we're talking is I like your product.
Thank you.
People send me products all the time, and mixed results, but I really like them. But then miso,
of course,
miso enters and that's pretty as foreign as you can get.
That's our most out of the box one, I would say. So we launched, that was I think our 5th or 6th SKU now. When we launched all of our products, and that's definitely the most foreign. I would say what we get from a lot of buyers is naming convention is interesting, but once they try it, it's actually one of their top flavors.
So 2 years in, how early on, how do you work on formulation? And you're young and you're not from the culinary background, so clearly you needed somebody to help you.
Yeah, so we it's a long story, but we Troy and I really come up with the flavor profiles.
Yeah.
In the early days, we never used data analytics to make our flavor choices. It was really more okay, hot honey's trending on pizza. Why don't we put it into a pasta sauce and jar it up, right? And then also thinking about flavor profiles, cross category, and making sure they're not too foreign.
Yeah.
We did have some advisors in the early days that were helping us out with connecting us with some food scientists, as so they call them, that help you really take your product and then manufacture it at scale. So what we were able to do is work with that food scientist, come up with the flavor profiles that we wanted to use, and then she was able to help us manufacture that product.
Your food scientist is amazing. Did you go to business school?
I actually studied real estate development in college.
So adjacent.
I asked total opposite of selling tomato sauce.
No, totally. But I having that background in academia, you looked at case studies, and the first one that comes to mind 2 years ago is the Rayo's story,
exactly.
The business story. The exit that Rayo's had, it kind of shocked the world.
Yeah.
The valuation of a single pasta. They had multiple SKUs, but a single product was remarkable.
Yeah.
Were you looking at that?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the Rayo's acquisition came after, of course, we started Saws, but they were sold originally, I think, for few $100 million back in 2018 or 17.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rayo's, I think
more than a few $100 million.
I think they sold for around 600.
Yeah, that's more
original time.
It was a $600 million acquisition for a pasta sauce.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think during that acquisition it was just pasta sauce.
Yeah,
and then after they went into frozen, bunch of different other categories of grocery, but.
Yeah, it was a pretty remarkable, but clearly people love sauce.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was that is the one that goes down in history as a great example. And I think to your point, like it did help us, of course.
Yeah. So let me ask you, like, early on when you're launching, what's the challenge for you to break through this category? Because to get into these stores, to get into Target 1 year after founding is pretty remarkable. How were you able to do that?
Yeah, I would say, Troy and I still do the selling to this day. We were having the founders in on sales call. I think you just show your passion for the brand at all times. For us, getting into retail was difficult, but also I think the one thing about getting into retail is not as hard as you would think, at least for us at the time. Like we were going into a category that hasn't seen much innovation in decades.
Yeah.
When we were meeting with buyers, they were always saying like, hey, we hate reviewing this category every single year because we see the same New York restaurant to retail or we use the freshest Italian tomatoes that everyone else is using, right? Like I think for us is we pitch the brand as like we're bringing incremental dollars to the set, bringing a new consumer to the set. We're not taking away dollars that, another marinara on shelf might be taking from another brand. So for us, the retail thing was somewhat easy to get into retail. It's just building that community to get your product off shelf, which everyone in CPG, I think, knows that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, how many times did you say we're the Grazza of pasta sauces in a sales call?
We try and be out there as much as we can. I think that's the best thing about the brand is that we don't really have a direct brand Bible and we can kind of do whatever we really want and be out there and outgoing. And I think that's a real big differentiator.
I mean, I think the large retailers wanted, Gen Z energy. Yeah. Because they know, obviously, there has to be innovation there, and the aisle is pretty staid. But on the flip side, you're throwing out these flavors, and you're doing Alfredos as well, which really mixed results historically. Yeah, I like yours. Thank you. I mean, how are you addressing the changing tastes of younger shoppers? Because I think that's like your big promise with Sauce is we're really tapped into this young millennial and Gen Z shopper.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of mentioned earlier, like we look at like what we think is trending. Yeah. Now we do use a little more data and analytics to make our flavor decisions, but for the most part, it's like, what do we see in culture? And I think that's what makes us a big differentiator in the set. And then on the Alfredo front, it's one that I probably never thought we would come out with a jarred Alfredo, but it's crazy to think that, most of America does eat jarred Alfredo. Our brown butter Alfredo is one of the most popular selling products at Whole Foods in the Alfredo set, which is great. And we always are tweaking our formulas, making them better, using higher quality ingredients, trying to really, as much as we can help products, like I think that's, we listen to consumers' feedback on what they're seeing.
I mean, salted pistachio Alfredo.
Yeah. Salted pistachio.
It reads well.
Yeah.
I just think a lot of consumers have been burned by the Alfredo in the jar.
It's tough. I mean, a lot of our competitors, most products like on the Alfredo set, like you're just making a plain Alfredo or you have some sort of unique flavor, but a lot of them taste very milky. I think for us is like even all of our products, like when we lean into the flavor, we're really leaning into the flavors.
So where are you making it? Do you have co-packers around the country? Do you have a single co-packer? How's that work?
Yeah, so all of our red sauces are made domestically here in the U.S. And then our pestos and Alfredo business is actually made in Italy overseas.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
I want to know about just like the cost of goods and how that's, affected your pricing model. I mean, how are you adjusting for cost of goods, which includes, you just mentioned, importing tariffs? I mean, it's real.
It is real. It's definitely real. I would say we are very fortunate enough that we actually the main majority of our business is our red sauce, which is domestic, and we actually use California-grown tomatoes. Yeah. So very different than your typical. In our category, a lot of our competitors are using Italian tomatoes, right? The bonus for us is that we are using California-grown tomatoes, which I think is great. We use the highest quality tomato, no preservative tomato that you can find out there, and one of the most expensive tomatoes that you can find domestic. So Yeah, I think that's on the Alfredo and pesto front. We do have tariffs, of course, for importing our products from Italy. But I would say because it's not a majority of our business, it's not as big of a focus, I would say.
Do you use domestic olive oil?
We use foreign olive oil. Yeah.
Like that, I mean, which I would expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good that you have like the bulk of your product is domestic, so you're a little protected from that.
Exactly, and we use extra virgin olive oil from overseas. I mean, it's very high quality. We don't use just basic olive oil.
Yeah. What is your funding picture like? I mean, did you do friends and family for the first year, and then did you take money from venture or from other sources?
Yeah, so we've had. I think, our category is tough. It's a pay-to-play category, as many are in CPG, right?
Yeah, resource intensive,
Yeah. So we did do a family and friends round very early on before Troy and I even had a product. We were kind of course, in that early stage of building brand. And we raised about $210,000, family and friends, and a few angels, and that took us about 6 or so months to like really formulate, get maybe some products, branding, like all of that stuff, and then went into a very small round, about $500,000, and I think at that point we went another 6 months, and then when it really scaled is when we went to Expo West in 2023. Is when the brand was probably 6 or so months old. We were in Expo S, really, came out with this nice booth. We were kind of the hot kids on the block, right? Like getting into retail stores, on social media. We were blowing up, virality and all that stuff. And we got approached. We went into that saying, hey, we want to raise like $1 million. Like we need a little more funding.
Which is still a small amount of funding.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not looking for this blockbuster round, which still it makes everything the $1 million investment.
Exactly. So we went into that. Let's start raising $1 million, and then came out actually at Expo West. We kind of got an offer like on the floor for $3.5 million. And that was at the point when we had just heard that we were launching nationwide in Target as well. So it was like kind of one of those things where like we had to fuel growth and succeed in that retailer.
So you were able to get national distribution in Target with the friends and family round.
Yeah, probably. And then we've raised a very small venture round at 500,000. So we had about 700, but the 200 was probably burned by the time we got to the 500, of course. But we probably had that $500,000 when we were getting into Target.
So you go to Expo West in 23. You have this handshake deal with Target for national distribution, and then you're like, we need to raise. Pretty nice little moment. I mean, what was the big selling point for your venture partner to get that $3.5 million?
Yeah, I would say like similar to the buyer story earlier, like we really pitched the brand in terms of like innovation and incremental dollars to the set. I think that's the biggest thing is like there's really no innovation in our category, and that's really how we pitched it. I mean, like you have to be able to bring that incremental dollar into the set and a new consumer.
Yep.
So
I love that. I think for potential founders or baby founders here, listening to the show, those are really interesting words, incremental dollars and new customers to the set. So like looking at the grocery store and where are those white spaces.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I have to ask about this like next couple years for you. I mean, you're in like Whole Foods, Erewhon, Gelson's, Kroger. You're in 7,000 stores. Where does it go?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of meat on the bone, right? Like there's 50,000 stores in the U.S. or probably more. But I would say, for us, it's really focusing on same-store velocity. We're at that point where we just really want to focus on same-store velocity, and I think that's the key to growth. There are a few stores that we're looking at for 26 that we're very excited about, but for the most part, it's not really focusing on new retailer and new door growth, more so same-store velocity.
Same store and getting people to come back.
Exactly.
What's your relation with Walmart?
Walmart we have a relationship with them. It's not on our books right now, but we are definitely flirting with them. I think that's one that in CPG is very risky, of course, but I also think like could be huge potential. It's one that you really have to decide on if it's the right fit for your brand.
Yeah. And it could be. I mean, this is a category that could use a little bit of, seeing a lemon, a marinara on the shelf at Walmart could be exciting.
Exactly.
What's your Grail store? Where do you want to be? Just like put it out in the world.
Yeah. Grail store, Costco. Costco, I think, Costco from everyone in CBG, of course.
Yeah.
Founders know that Costco is just a great retailer, but I think also like growing up as shopping there with my family as a kid, I think just one to be like, I would always love when my mom was like, hey, we're going to Costco today, because I would always go and just try all the samples that they had. So I think for us, Costco is one that we'd love to be in. I
have a friend who calls it Costconis because it's like they've got so many great Italian products there.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
And they really obviously know how to drive sales for Italian products.
And I think like for us too, like our product in Costco would just look amazing. I think also offer a very different product for our category.
Would you do like the 2-packs? What would be your...
Yeah, we would do 2-packs. Typically for our category, it's 2-packs like dog bones that you just pick up. Well, probably a little larger size format. And then, of course, like our amazing branding on a pallet, I think would just be amazing.
No, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
What about other categories?
Yeah, I think one of the best things about the Saws naming is we don't really have that brand Bible in terms of like very restricted into other categories. I think for us, the real focus right now is, of course, our pasta sauce business, tomato sauce business, and we are looking into other avenues, but kind of how I mentioned, it's really working on that same store velocity, still building a lot of brand awareness, going from 10 stores roughly less than 2 years ago to 7,000 to 8,000 stores now is, of course, you have to build that brand awareness in those places that, might not be the coastal cities like LA, New York, Chicago, Texas.
So let's dig into that. Same store velocity, building it.
Yeah.
Nebulous. And I talk to people about this a lot, and I still kind of don't understand how do you, being on the shelf in one of these 7,000 stores, how does same store velocity occur?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of trial, right? There's a lot of things that come down to it. It's that triangle effect of, marketing as well as, TPRs in store.
Yeah.
Any sort of ads you can get, any sort of placement. Just, I think the biggest thing for Saws in our category is that we are so unique in terms of a product perspective that we look at Saws as, similar to like a Salt and Straw to Baskin Robbins. Like you go to Salt and Straw, you have a very unique, olive oil vanilla ice cream, and then you go back to Baskin Robbins and have a basic vanilla ice cream. Even if you didn't like it, you're still going to love or remember that olive oil ice cream. So for us, getting out of aisle is number one thing. Any way we can display our brand is, of course, with branding, and most CPG brands, of course. But I think for us, it's really trial. Getting that product into people's hands is the number one thing.
So how do you drive trial? Is that through just investment, or you're paying for it?
Yeah, I would say investment into any sort of like, promos or just to get people to try your product. We do a lot of demos, community events, I would say, on the marketing side, as well as like anything on the social front that you can do. And then ad displays. Like CPG is expensive. I mean, it's very expensive pay to play category. I think any category in grocery, right?
Are you talking to strategics at all about investment or even the big acquisition?
Yeah, not currently. Yeah. It's not really, the focus is still building brand.
Cool.
We have a lot to do on manufacturing as well as new products and distribution, and there's a lot of stuff coming. I mean, up until 6 months ago, we were a team of 4 people, which is crazy to think about. And now we have about 12 employees.
Great. All based in LA?
For the most part, actually, about half of them are in New York.
Cool.
So,
Winston, it's a fun conversation that we've just had. I'm wishing you all the best.
Well, I appreciate it.
This is Taste is hosted and produced by Eliza Barbanel and me, Matt Rodbar. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell. Episode portraits by Louise Zergan Pomeroy. Logo design by Ellie Skirzat and Ian Dingham. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.